So today I'm going to show you a little trick that I've been working on, and it is with the pendulum effect in Adobe Captivate 5.5. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. You can see my little guys moving back and forth. I used this in a forklift training just to kind of show, I don't know, a little animation. Let me show you how I did that in Captivate. You can see I've got my image here set up in Captivate. Let me show you. I usually start in PowerPoint with my image editing. So you can see we've got one piece here, and that's the image I took from clip art. And you can't, I mean you can, but I really didn't like the way it looked when the whole thing pendulumed back and forth. So what I decided to do was to break it into two separate pieces. And depending on the item you're working with, it may work okay to pendulize the whole thing. But for me, I wanted to work with two separate pieces because I didn't want this moving. I just wanted this to be moving back and forth. So what I did was I used the crop tool, the drawing tools in Format, and cropped the images so that I could get them to look the way I wanted. Once I had the images the way I wanted, I saved each image, save as, two separate image names. And then I went back into Captivate and imported them using the insert image, and then found my image, put it in here. So you can see we've got three separate images here. We've got the words, and you want to make sure you're putting things in the right order. So I don't want this on top, so I make sure that this is above the hook. I'm calling this the red hook. And the clipboard is just the words, so that's going to be in the front, and then farthest in the front is going to be my little triangle piece. So first thing I want to do is line the pieces up as best I can so it looks like they all belong together, and then you're going to go to click on the one you want to move. You're going to go to your effects tab, and here you can see I've got some set up already, but when I'm going to add one more piece here, and then I'll show you why I did that. So we're going to go to Add Effect, and this is Emphasis, and it is Pendulum. So I'm adding in, and you can see it adds in like a 2-second thing, but when you just do one, it moves back and forth, and that's it. And it's showing you a 60-degree angle, which is very, very a lot. So what I'm going to do is move this here, and this is going to be like my last piece, so it's going to be really short, and then I'll show you what we do. So I started here with only a 10-degree movement, and then a 9-degree movement, and 8, 6, 4, 2, and 1. Just like you would typically see, it just goes smaller and smaller until it stops. So on this one, I'm just going to add 1, so that way we're all the way down to the bottom there. So let's take a live preview of how that looks. See, and I probably want to move the piece up because that first movement, you could see a little break in the image here. So let's go back and work on that. And it's not necessarily, you can change it here to make it less of a movement, but I liked how far it moved. It just probably needs to be moved up a little bit more so that that separation doesn't show here. So we can try this again. There we go. See, and there's no separation here, and it just keeps moving. Let's watch that again. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So you can see how I've done that. Like I said, just simply adding the different degrees, and depending on your picture, how big it is, you just need to play with the numbers. And I just kept adding the pendulum and pendulum and pendulum right after each other, and just start from the biggest one and go to the smallest one. And your left and right angles, it's just going to depend on how you want it to move. But that's pretty much it. The other thing I like to talk about with these kinds of images is because they're overlaid PNGs and they're transparent, you want to make sure you're using something other than low bit, because if you use low bit, you're going to end up with fuzzy images. You can't do that. So you want to use at least optimized JPEG or high bit. I typically use high unless it's a really big program, but if it's small, high's fine, but JPEG and optimize worked as well. Well, I hope you enjoyed. Check out my blog for more tips and tricks. Thank you very much.